Today we're going to be looking at some dates that went horribly wrong. And yeah, the baby's just sat right there. Put it this way, would you much rather him bring the baby and be open about the fact that he's a father or lie to you about it? Because I know for a fact there's men out there who'll lie to women saying that they got no kids, but they've actually got 5 or 6 out in the world. That's a green flag. He doesn't forget about his kid. I feel like if I were a woman, I would definitely fall in love with him. Like, I get such bad baby fever. I'd be thinking that's perfect. That baby is fresh into this world and we're on a date, so I want to raise it as my own. Then I'd also be thinking, where is the mother of the child? You know, why has he got a baby with him? Where's the mother? Has he murdered her? At least he's showing you the whole package from the beginning. Exactly, you know, would you rather you fall in love with him, literally get married, have your own child, and then you find out he's got more children of his own he didn't tell you about? Because I know for a fact I wouldn't.
There's one place you're not going on a first date.
On a first date?
Yeah,
Their place?
their house.
Hands down.
I don't know.
Hands down.
Why not the crib? Like,
Why not?
Why not?
Why not the crib? If you actually like me, you're gonna take me out somewhere to try to impress me. You're not gonna bring me to your place.
And you don't want to get murdered.
Like, sometimes the crib be like.
Sometimes the crib be like, yeah, it can always be like that. But first, to get to know each other, we're gonna go out.
What if you got invited to the crib and they cook for you?
And then they cook you.
I still have to know them. I'm not going to somebody's place I don't know. What if you're a serial killer?
Exactly.
It's Austin, Texas. There's a bunch of serial killers.
They might say, oh, I'll cook you a meal, but you are that meal. You'll be getting eaten. Woman establishes boundaries, men, but what if? Exactly, you know, they know for a fact that you're not going to the house for a date. They want you there for a different reason. Same men to expect women to go to their houses be in the comments when a woman is assaulted and say, why is she at his house? I mean, put it this way, you can't win against some people. You just cannot win. I would say don't ever go on the first date to someone's house, but only if you know them. But then yet again, you might know them. They could be a childhood best friend, but they could still be a murderer. And actually talking about murderers, let's watch this next video. This has to be the scariest thing ever. I feel physically sick listening to it. Everyone should be careful with who they meet. All I'm gonna say is buckle up because this is a roller coaster.
It's like, oh, do you want to meet up? We should like go on a date. And then she was like, yeah, okay. So he
Sounds
picked her up
good.
and they drove to a restaurant. And he was like, and then she started to feel really sick. So she was like, oh, do you mind if I go home? Like, I'm not feeling very well. And he was like, yeah, that's fine. I'll give you a lift home. And then in the car, she started to feel a bit better. So he was like, so she was like, oh, do you want to come into my house for a coffee? So he was like, yeah, okay, that sounds good. And then when he got inside, she started feeling really sick again. She was like, oh, do you mind actually if you leave? Like, I don't feel very well. So he was like, yeah, no, totally fine. Like, I'll go. He left and then she went to bed. And then she woke up in the middle of the night and she could hear like something downstairs. She didn't think anything of it. And then she heard it again and it sounded like someone was moving her kitchen table. So she like ran and shut her door and rang the police and was like, there's someone in my house, like you need to come. So the police were like, okay, stay on the phone, like we're going to come to your house. They got to her door and they're like, your door's locked. We don't think anyone will be in there. She was like, no, someone's here. I give you permission to knock down my door. So they knocked down her door and then she heard like some scuffling, like someone being pinned down. And then the policeman came up to her room, knocked on the door and was like, it's the police, like it's fine, you're safe, like we've got the man, you can open the door. And then they were like, it's fine, he's not here anymore, but we still don't think you should stay the night here. And she was like, okay, that's fine, but can I see what he's done downstairs? And they're like, we really don't think you should see what he's done. We don't think you should see what's happened. And then she was like, no, I need to see what he's done to my house. She went downstairs and he'd put up plastic on all of her furniture, like clear plastic sheets to cover it all up. And there was a saw and a hammer lined up on her floor. And then basically they found out that he'd like drugged her, and the amount of drugs that was in her system, like she shouldn't have woken up. And also, like when he came into the house, the reason he got in is because he put his car keys down next to her keys, and then when he left, he picked up both of them and then he let himself back in. Like literally, I am never ever going on a Tinder date ever again. Like it actually killed me.
Yeah, so you know how we were talking about why you should never ever let a stranger into your home? That is why. They didn't even go on a date to her house, yet they went home for a coffee because she obviously felt bad, but it turns out the reason she was feeling bad was because she was being drugged. And yet again, if she didn't wake up, we all know what would happen. Like, she would have disappeared. She would have never been found.
I matched with this guy on Tinder. We speak once and he messages me to go out on a date with him that same evening. He's cute, so I say yes. Let's call him Paul. So
Okay,
Paul
hello,
said
Paul.
he wanted to go to Revs, stand up, let's dance kind of vibe. Bear in mind, it's a Monday evening. So I was like, I don't think that's the best place to go. It's gonna be so dead. But this man was adamant on going there. He was like, I really want to go there. So I was like, you know what? Let's go. I go home. I get ready and I meet him. He's actually really, really cute. Even better looking in person. We get to Revs and surprise, surprise, it is dead. And I was like, I did tell you. And then he was like, why don't we just go somewhere else? So I was like, okay, fine. So we end up going to a Slug and Lettuce. We're having small talk. He buys drinks. Then I buy a round of drinks. It was just meh. Like, I wasn't laughing. But he was a nice guy and he was cute. So I was just enjoying myself, I guess. One thing that's important is I did ask him what time his train back was because he doesn't drive. So I was like, have you got a return ticket? And he was like, oh, don't worry, I've got the ticket. Like, everything's under control. So I was like, okay, perfect, fine, amazing.
Does he
so
though?
At 11 p.m, everyone's clearing up and they're basically telling us to get out. It's a Monday night, no one is staying past 11. So I'm like, okay, I take this as my sign. In my head, I'm thinking this was a lovely day, but I'm ready to go home. So we go outside. I was like, I think I'm just gonna go home and go to bed. Sorry, I've got to wake up early tomorrow for uni. He was so understanding. He was like, yeah, no, fair enough. Can I walk you home? And if anybody knows Southend, you know it is terrifying. It's scary.
Yeah.
So I thought, wow, thank you so much. What a gentleman. So we get there. It's the awkward goodbye. He goes in to kiss me and I do that really awkward thing that's like I tilt my head to go in for a hug because I really did not want to kiss him. Anyway, he then pulls away. Tell me why this man tries again as if my mind was just gonna suddenly change. Well, it didn't. I hugged him twice. At this point, I'm trying not to laugh. I say goodbye. He walks off. I get into my house. I burst out laughing. Anyway, get ready for bed, take my makeup off and get into bed. When all of a sudden, I get a message from Paul.
He's gonna ask to come
He
into your
says,
house.
we have a problem. And I'm thinking, what is going on? He proceeds to tell me that he's missed his train. Bear in mind, it's 11 p.m. and his phone is on 1%. So he's asking if he can come back to my house to charge his phone so that he can make his way back home.
No.
Now, I'm still thinking this guy is a nice, genuine man.
Reminder of the last video we just watched, guys. You know, just because they seem nice and genuine doesn't mean they are nice and genuine. Remember that man who literally went into that woman's house, put plastic all over her furniture, and then the police found a hammer and a saw?
We had a good conversation and I thought, okay, if I was in his situation and I needed to get back home and I had no charge on my phone, I would pray someone would let me in their house to charge my phone. So me being the naive girl I said, okay. Anyway,
Just
he
let
gets
him
to
into
my
the
house,
foyer of
obviously
your
I'm in my
apartment.
pajamas, no makeup. We go to my room. Paul walks into my room, grabs my guitar, sits on my bed, starts playing and singing at the same time. And I'm just stood there like, if that was me in that situation, first thing I would have done is said,
Run.
I'm just here to charge my phone. I don't want to be in your personal space. That would have been my thought
Or just
process.
do it in your
Clearly,
living room.
Paul was not on that same wavelength. It's almost like he forgot he needed to charge his phone. First red flag. Well, that was the first red flag I spotted. I'm like, did you not need to charge your phone? He's like, oh, yeah, of course. I was like, okay, pass me your phone, let me charge it. And he was like, oh, no, like, you give me the charger. Second red flag. Why can you not
'Cause it's
just
fully
pass me your
charged.
phone so I can plug it in? But I thought, okay, whatever. Gave him the charger. Not even 5 minutes after, I turned around and I was like, what percentage are you on? Because I do really need to charge my phone as well. And I was just doing that to kind of see like how long it would take for him to leave. This man goes, oh yeah, don't you worry. You can charge your phone. My phone's on like 50%. The math ain't mathing. In
Yeah.
5 minutes, it's gone from 1% to 50%. And I was like, I thought you said you're on 1%. And he was like, yeah, it was on 1%, but I've got this phone that charges super quick. Babe.
Okay,
you've
so
got
now
an
you can
iPhone 12.
leave.
I really don't think that's how it works. Do you think I'm dumb? Well, I clearly am dumb.
Well, it's not that you're dumb, you're just being played and you're falling for his lies. But yet again, that is quite terrifying, isn't it? It's the fact that his phone quite clearly wasn't on 1%. What is he truly wanting to be there to do? That's what I want to know.
So at this point, I'm not even going to argue with him. I'm like, you could now leave. He's like, there aren't any more trains. And in Spain, where I'm from, we don't have trains. So I didn't know how they ran. I didn't know if there was like a last train. I didn't know how they worked.
Get a
Any
taxi,
sane
a cab,
person would have
walk.
known that he's lying in that situation. But I just believed it. Idiot. I know. So silly of me. But I believed he had missed his train and there weren't any more. So I'm like, okay, well, like, can your friends pick you up? He was like, they're all out drinking. I've asked. They can't pick me up. Okay, this guy was not giving me solutions.
Why don't you go meet them?
I'm really, really exhausted, really tired. So Paul looks at me and says, do you mind if I just stay here? I'm like, well, what other choice have we got? I was like, I need to wake up at 5:30 a.m. for uni. He's like, that's fine, that's literally fine. And I was like, and we're just gonna sleep. Obviously, I am not going to sleep with a stranger in my bed. I also have a bit of trauma in these kinds of situations. I didn't want to annoy him. I didn't want to make him mad because I was scared he was gonna lash out. I was scared that, I don't know, at the end of the day, I actually don't know this guy. He could have been a serial killer. I was like, let's keep him on the good side, okay? And I thought, how bad can it be? It's just a couple hours and then he'll be gone. Now, obviously, I do not feel safe. So I stay up. This guy starts stripping and ends up in just his box. And at this point, I'm just like, yes, Paul, honestly,
just
do
go
whatever
to
you
sleep.
want. Just get into bed, close your eyes and sleep. You're on your side, I'm on my side. And that's how it's going to be the whole night. He suddenly starts to like pull me and like roll me over. I'm thinking, no, please. This man's trying to kiss me. I'm like trying to move away. He's trying to get on top of me. I'm trying to roll over. At one point, I'm like, stop. Just go to bed. And I really do just want to sleep. He was like, oh, you should have just said, like, yeah, of course. Like, you could tell. It's very, very obvious. I'm uncomfortable. Paul finally surrenders after trying quite a few times. Falls asleep. Me, on the other hand, I obviously do not sleep the whole night. 5:30 rolls around, the alarm goes off, and I've never gotten out of bed so fast in my life. Switching on the lights, opening the blinds, I'm like, it's your time to go. He's getting his stuff and I'm literally shoving him out. Literally is about to go in to kiss me again. Shove him out.
Oh my God.
I'm like, no. And he's like, okay, bye. So he leaves. I'm obviously not gonna text him. I'm just a bit shocked. I get a message from him an hour later and he's like, hey, like, I just want to say I had such a good night. Thank you so much for everything. Like, I really hope I can see you again. And
no.
Can you not feel when a girl is uncomfortable, especially when she's literally voicing it?
And you've basically broken into her room.
Your train. You've obviously lied about your battery percentage. Well, he clearly thought that I didn't realise, which at the beginning I didn't. Naturally, I message back and I'm like, hey, I'm gay. Instead of blocking him, instead of ignoring his message,
so you tell me you're a lesbian?
You're an awful person. I just said, I'm gay. That man was probably so confused. But hey, was I lying? He ends up saying, hey, I'm really sorry. Like, I didn't know you were questioning your sexuality. Basically, I just never spoke to him again. And I remember telling my friends the story the next day. And they were like, Tash, you're stupid. Yeah, I knew I was stupid.
You could have died.
Like, why? And they were like, because obviously the trains are still running past 11. Most days they run past 11. I didn't know how they worked. And I just believed the guy because I believe everyone. And I was naive and I thought, yeah, like, why would someone lie about that?
Nobody can blame you because if you've never been in a situation like that, you obviously don't know how to react. But yeah, that definitely had a possibility of you ending up in a body bag. It's the fact that he lied about the trains, his phone battery, then he's getting all touchy in bed. There was a lot going on in that video. Are these stories even true? I mean, look, sometimes we listen to stories and I think in the back of my head, is that real? Is that fake? I believe it. You know, there are some people like that. How many other women has he done it to? Is he the type of guy who does that a lot? Never let strangers into your house. You're lucky he wasn't dangerous. You don't owe that man anything. He could have taken a cab home. They're saying that she's lucky he wasn't dangerous. To me, he seems very dangerous. You know, he's lied a lot and then whenever you're trying to sleep, he's getting all touchy and everything. What happens if you were extremely intoxicated? Like, he does sound very dangerous to me.
Okay, so I have to tell you about this terrible first date. Met this guy a month ago. He was our waiter at a Mexican restaurant. He, at the end, gave me a note that said, you're so beautiful, will you give me your number?
Aww.
I gave him my number. I'm nothing if not a hopeless romantic. Let's go. So we start texting. His English isn't very good. My Spanish isn't very good.
Translator.
We can communicate.
Or if worst comes to the worst, what you can do is use a translator. If I'm ever chatting to somebody who doesn't speak English, I talk to them for a translator in their own language. It's not perfect, but it makes the whole situation 10 times easier.
He immediately is asking me out. He's putting it in my court. He's like, what do you want to do? When can I take you out? So I picked a movie. I figured that was like low risk for a first date for somebody I have never hung out with, and I don't know that we can communicate that well. So I figured that was low risk.
I want to know, are you watching a movie that's in Spanish or English? That's the real question.
So the night before, we've like picked a movie and I'm like, okay, how about we meet at 7:15 in the lobby? Movie starts at 7:20. He said, okay, great. And then he said, are you gonna bring a friend with you? And I said I wasn't planning on it. Should I? And he said, oh no, then it won't just be you and me. And again, I'm like,
ooh, red flag or
okay,
not.
Okay, maybe. We don't speak very well to each other, so maybe this is either a communication issue or a or a cultural difference. I don't know. That you bring a chaperone on a first date. I don't know. But odd. I said, So he was like, okay, no, then it'll just be you and me. And I'm like, okay, great, I'll see you tomorrow. So I text him the next day, on the day of our date. Like, I got there early, and so I was just like, oh, I'm in the lobby, a pink sweater, and he said, okay, I'm running late. And I'm like, okay, fine. Not great for a first date, but okay. He's running late. The movie kind of like starts, and he's like, I'm sorry, I'm running late. And I'm like, it's okay, we probably haven't missed much.
So the movie's already started.
It's okay. And he said, okay. And then he said, like 12 minutes after the movie is supposed to have started, he said, okay, I'm outside. I'm here. And I'm like, okay, great. See you soon. And he said, are you outside or inside? I'm inside. He said, what do you say that we meet outside? I said, why? It's cold. He said,
Go
so
inside.
that I know where to find you. And I said, I'm the only one in the lobby right now. And then he didn't text back for a while, and I'm just waiting. And I'm like looking out the glass doors. I'm like, where is this man? What is going on? I'm the only one in the lobby. These high schoolers are probably embarrassed for me that I got stood up to a movie. I don't know. I'm waiting, and he's like, the truth is I can't find you. And I'm like, are you at the movie theater? Are you at the movie theater by the Outback restaurant? And then he says, can you send me your location? No, at this point, I don't think you should have my phone number. Okay, there's gonna have to be a part 2. I can't fit it in one.
Lucky for all of you guys, I do have part 2.
Part 2 of my bad date story. So we left off. This man's asking for my location. Will you send me your location?
Just go into the theater.
The movie theater lobby. There's one movie theater in this town. There's a couple other small ones, but it's clear that we're not going there. But I'm still over here like, did he go to the right movie theater? Whatever, doesn't matter. He doesn't deserve to have my location. Yikes. So I am still standing in the lobby, just waiting, seeing if he's gonna come in, seeing if we're just having a communication issue. I'm still willing, but now I'm like nervous. I'm nervous. Why do you want me to meet you outside? I don't like that. So finally, I've waited too long, and I said, hey, we're missing the movie, so I'm just gonna go home. And he said, no, don't go, like, we can still go, or do you want to go, like, get dinner or something, or do you want to watch a movie at my house? Ooh. Absolutely not. Another secondary location?
No.
So then he's like calling me while I'm driving home. I'm already talking with my friend, telling them that, hey, I'm safe from the red flag that I almost went on a first date with. Red flag because he was late. I don't make the rules. And so I'm declining these calls. You're not worth my time if you're going to be late to a first date and then not show up and then be weird. What? So then he's like, please give me one more chance. And I'm like, no, thank you. He's like, why? You left. You're angry. And I'm like, yeah, I don't even know if you were at the right theater. And he sent me a picture from his car looking at the theater. And so I said, why didn't you come inside? And he said, the truth is I was driving there. I was late, and that's why. And I'm like, what? I said, you said that you got here at 7:32, which is 12 minutes after the movie's supposed to start. And 17 minutes after we were supposed to meet. So you're already very late. And then you didn't come inside. I waited for you. You said you were outside at 7:32. I didn't leave until 7:48. That's too much time on my part, honestly. Like, I shouldn't have waited for that long. So instead, I got myself a bucket of popcorn and I asked a 16-year-old behind the counter to walk me to my car because I thought I was going to get kidnapped.
Yeah, by the sounds of it, you are.
Seriously, I asked a juvenile behind the movie theater counter if they would walk me to my car because my date was being weird and I didn't feel safe, and they looked very weirded out. It was these two young boys. And I was like, now it sounds like I'm going to kidnap you.
Yeah, exactly.
I understand.
Oh, because this man can turn up in time.
I bought a bucket of popcorn. I'm going home. Please walk me to my car. Thankfully, he walked me to my car. I did not get kidnapped. But, like, what? He tried to get me to go out with him again.
No.
And texted me the next morning, good morning, beautiful.
Block him.
What?
Either one or two things is going on with that situation. He's a kidnapper and he's planning to kidnap and murder you, or he just has really bad communication issues. He might be an innocent man and have nothing bad to do to you. However, the way he's acting makes you feel like he does. Like, you do have to keep in mind he only speaks Spanish. He speaks a little bit of English, speaks mainly Spanish. So whenever you're talking to him, he might not fully understand what's actually going on. But then yet again, he was acting suspicious. Mexican culture is that a sibling goes with you in a first date depending on age. He's just used to that. The rest, I don't know. Yet again, I understand that first bit, but like, he was acting suspicious, but then yet again, it's because he doesn't understand what's going on. Obviously, he knows that you two are meeting up and he's turned up late. However, why is he not going inside? Is it because he thinks you're gonna meet him in his car or outside? Like, it's just weird, isn't it? This sounded like a kidnapping in the making. Exactly. You know, there was red flags there, and thank God you just left, and you had to get two 16-year-olds to walk you to your car. No one is talking about him asking if you were coming alone. That's an epic red flag. He wanted to make sure you came alone. I mean, that too. Maybe it's got nothing to do with the culture. Maybe he just wanted to know if you were going alone. So it would be you versus him and his buddy. That sounds quite sinister, doesn't it? Well, anyways, guys, that's some dates that went horribly wrong. If it was to me watch more videos like this, let me know definitely well. Chris Burger, subscribe and see you all tomorrow for another video.